What else did I just find out? Yeah, I'll just check. Thought I'd come out here and see if anybody gonna come through. That was, um, you know, that's a smart move. I mean, Kyle Lowry had really not been effective. He did okay in spurts. He was okay in the finals, but we did not get Kyle Lowry the same way they had gotten him initially. And of course, in Toronto, we got him about 2 or 3 years past the pull date. I'd already said that when he teamed up with Butler and Bam, that he was a little bit older. So that wasn't really the kind of move. What's up? What's up? Let's chop it up. I'm here for a couple hour or two, so let's do it. Wasn't really the kind of move that I felt that the Heat. I know what they were getting with him, but we got Kyle Lowry too late in Miami anyway. But getting Scary Terry, that's an upgrade. That's an upgrade. I know what Riley's trying to do, but he couldn't move. The thing about it is Duncan Robinson and Hero couldn't really make that big move. I got a lot of NBA stuff I'm going to talk about, so I'm going to address that. Of course, I want to address Joel Embiid. I'll do a video about that. I didn't really jump into it today because I had a couple of videos and I didn't get my request, the one I wanted to do. But Embiid, it was impressive. But I don't think I say, well, Joel Embiid, make it count postseason. I know what you can score. I know what you can do. But, yep, yeah, he need to bring it and don't be scared and be ducking people because he's a regular season. He's starting to get into that James Harden, ironically, a former teammate of a guy that regular season, he'd be beasting and feasting, but at the postseason, not so much. So that's why I ain't really, because I've seen it before, aside from the 70, but he does look better with Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse and him, just like with Nick Nurse and Kawhi, look good. But I'm going to hold off before I'm going to pump the brakes before I get too excited. But if it becomes out that Embiid and Jokic go in the finals, which I would want the best of the big men or something like that, so that's all I got to say about that. But I will address that one. But a good move by the Heat and that thing. I don't even put Bass in that order. I'm not going to hold it against him. Yeah, he missed a field goal, but that wasn't why we lost that game. Josh Allen did not be productive. I don't know what he was watching. I don't know what TV set he was watching, but what I saw in that game, I did not see this kind of situation where I saw this dominance. I don't know what he was watching. He didn't put enough yards. He didn't really get into enough of everything. I didn't see that. McDermott got out coached. Yeah, well, you asked me the other day what I thought, what you couldn't do, and I told you, you can't let them run the ball down your throat. You can't let Kelsey sit there and post you up. They sat there and they let them dictate. It wasn't like they was killing in time possession, but they didn't punt the ball at all either. You cannot afford to play up and down with them, and they did exactly what they wanted. And Mahomes was strategic, and I know Skip Bayless will say, well, the Bills had injuries. That made no difference. They still got the job done. And then Diggs dropping that ball, but that wasn't the only problem. Diggs just wasn't really in the offense, not as effective as you want. So anyway. Well, the thing about Josh is that I think he's getting shots up. I think that he's getting it's a balance of shots. I think that Josh he's getting criticized. And do I think Dak is getting more? No, I don't think Dak's getting necessarily more being a brother because I think they letting Dak more benefit of the doubt because he's playing with the Cowboys. Now, if you want to talk about from a racial perspective, I'll tell you this. Josh Allen got more of a pass than Lamar Jackson did. I will definitely give you that one. Because Lamar was a league MVP. And the fact that before the start of the year, they had him open season for a trade and no one wanted to budge. Yeah. Well, see, Haslam still is coming with that hood mindset. But the thing is this. might not be no love lost in terms of basketball, but then there becomes a time when you just look like you're just straight trolling and you're just saying stuff to come across as a tough guy. And the problem that I see with what he's proposing is that the bottom line is he got caught saying something ignorant and really offensive about the Bill Russell jersey, which he shouldn't have said without knowing his history. That's what makes Haslam look so bad, you know. Um, Not liking him is one thing, but the whole thing with the Bill Russell jersey, that's what made him look like tacky and embarrassing. He embarrassed himself that way, you know. I don't really take the Celtics talk that seriously. Paul Pierce does, and some of those guys still get into this thing. Rondo act a certain way, but it's not really that deep. It's really not that deep. He ain't gonna say nothing about Ray Allen, who hit arguably the most important shot in Miami Heat history, who was a former Celtic. So how serious do I take him? I'm just saying, how serious do I take him? So I don't take him that serious. You know, Udon was very important as a Heat player and important as a leader. However, I'm not taking that stuff seriously at all. I just got through doing my video about Kevin Durant too, by the way. That'll come out probably tomorrow. Let's see it later. It'll be on this loading up. And I address, in truth, he should be considered one of the GOATs. However, because of and ironically, what I said is that had he stayed in Golden State, ironically, for all the people saying the bandwagon and all that, he was actually better off had he stayed there. Actually, had he stayed there, he would have been. Well, because at this stage, he wants to be in LA. He don't want to go to a generic or Saudi Arabia team. But the problem is that he doesn't fit what LeBron needs to fit at this stage, or AD for that matter, because he is a freestyle guard, but they don't need a freestyle guard. And what I mean by that is this. If he plays up against someone like Denver or some team that kind of lock his behind up, he can't do nothing but score because he's not an assist man. He's not a rebound man. He's not a steals man. He ain't a block shot man. He's offensive. He's an offensive cat that feeds off the rock and flow and rhythm. So he's like a beat maker. And you know what the difference is between a beat maker and a music producer? The beat maker just comes up with the beats. That's what he do. He's on rhythm. And if he don't have his rhythm, there ain't much to his game. So he can't beat you no other way. And I see him look, he don't play no defense, and he has bad shooting nights, he's a liability. So LeBron is too old right now to cover that room, and AD is not agile enough to cover that room, so he has to. But to where they are, there's a reason why they're an average team. Now, before someone come at me and say, well, he would be better than, say, like Rondo was, I said, no, he wouldn't. I said, Rondo just doesn't score enough. I said, but a guy like Rondo in his prime was made more effective than D'Lo ever will be. And I know D'Lo will outscore him by 10 or so points, but no one is scared of D'Lo. So. Well, the thing is that they didn't blackball him like they did by making a tight end his only front and center. See, a lot of black quarterbacks have that situation. That's what happened with Michael Vick in Atlanta, and that's what happened with Cam Newton in Carolina. Brothers don't usually get receivers to work with, so they usually don't get the options. They're working for Mahomes, but Mahomes is so dynamic that he can create because he ad-libs a lot of those routines and things he does because of his skill set. But Lamar's like that too. But I think that now that they open up the field more, allowing him to, showcase the skill set. So, it's important that you do that to a quarterback, that you give him something to work with. It's very important. Yeah, he's pretty good, but he ain't great. And he's not know what? I will tell you what happened. When Aaron Rodgers, two things happened. Brady leaving and Aaron Rodgers going to the AFC. All of a sudden, that took away two of the, most important quarterbacks going, but they were in the same conference. So now you have the likes of Dak Prescott and Jared Goff looking upper tier where they really like those guys. That's why, he benefits from the watered down. But even with the watered down, he still can't come through because a kid like Jordan Love just took him to the woodshed. And then Jalen Hurts, who's already proven to be something. So, you just look at it for what it is. The problem with the NFC is that a lot of quarterbacks over there are either what I call second tier, some third tier, and it's a lot of chameleons over there. Matthew Stafford, who has decent stats, but no one was looking at stat pad as some elite guy. Not like that. Brock Purdy, who is good, but we don't know if he's really that dude. Geno Smith is like a kind of rehab, turn his life around, but we're not buying him as some savior. Kyler Murray's become a guy who coulda, woulda, shoulda, and it's sinking. It's sinking unless he gets a new change plan. And then we look at nothing. Washington has what I call decent third tier quarterbacks at best. Third tier. Nothing that you write home about. The Giants, come on now. No one talks about. Because I want to adjust this one. I want to get this one real quick when I can bring it here when I don't have it on my brain. Because I want to get this one out when I say this real quick about him. Kirk Cousins, okay. So, he's a good example of a guy who looked like a first tier, was really like making second tier, and then the high second tier. So that's what you got over there. But that's what makes Dak. It shows you how watered down it is. And Justin Fields is coming up, but who he play for? See, the NFC has a lot of chameleon, rotating chair quarterbacks who are flirting with different tiers, but they're really not that good. That's the sad part. And some people think that they really that good. I haven't heard them. I heard some about it. I know someone's gonna ask me what I think about it. I think he would be better with the Chargers personally with Herbert. I think Harbaugh would be a better fit with Buffalo. I think Harbaugh's got a better appreciation for a certain type of talent. Belichick, the Bills' defense is decent. It's good. What's up? JD, what's up? It's decent. But I don't know that I would say it would necessarily take it to another level. That I can't say. Can't say it would, because what would he do with Josh Allen? He's never had a quarterback like Josh Allen. He probably loves him a lot. Oh, I'm a firm believer. Anybody comes over who's halfway a quality head coach can definitely implement certain things. I'm sure the Bills would make that move. I wouldn't. If you ask me today, would I rather keep Sean McDermott or get Belichick? I keep Sean. I just don't trust Belichick no more. Because, he would have to ride it out with Josh. He messed up with Brady, and I can't trust a head coach who let a ring go through the door. Now, would it work? It depends on how he would utilize James Cook. The first time, no. Only the Super Bowl. Not the second time. The first one, Belichick devised a great plan. Remember, he was still a puppy. It was 17-0 AFC Championship game. They came back, and Brady came up big on those third 10 plays. So I can't hold that against him because Mahomes was actually balling in that one. The Super Bowl, you can hold it against them because Tampa Bay's defense and Mahomes' offensive line was whack, but they got physical with them. But the first one, I don't hold that against them in the AFC Championship game. I don't. And Brady was good in the Super Bowl. He came up clutch in the AFC Championship game. So I can't hold it against him really in that regard. But he was in his first year, believe it or not. That's how scary Mahomes is. Because you go back to that. Now that Patrick Mahomes today doesn't lose to Brady in that AFC Championship game. He may not have won that Super Bowl, but he would have beaten him. That's the difference with Mahomes then and now. But there's no shame in losing to Brady. Brady, you know, Brady came up big. He came up big. He came up big. You know, there's no shame in losing to someone that's considered the GOAT, especially at their position. He came up big. Only if there's no defense played, which would not benefit Baltimore. Kansas City would welcome a high-scoring game. If there's turnovers involved, it benefits Baltimore. If there's no turnover, it helps KC. I can tell you off the top of the dome, when you start talking about high scoring and the styling, if it's turnovers or special teams, Kansas City will win that game easily. If it's even Steven and it's up and down the field and you can run and maneuver, that's Baltimore. So it all comes down to what side can impose their will. All depends. Yeah, but they got to figure out ways to utilize their running game. They got to figure out ways to not rely on gimmicky type of play and things that they do. Like I said, that's where the head coaching. I tell you, Belichick would be great there. Now you want to talk about a spot because Jalen Hurts is more a conservative mover. Belichick more so than Buffalo. Buffalo's a strange juggernaut. You got to add another playmaker with Diggs. You got to get somebody spectacular on defense to jump that. They got to be able to stop the run or the pass. So, but Philly has pieces. They have pieces. Peggy Bundy. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Peggy Bundy. What's up, WJ? Yeah, I'm gonna give you Peggy. I'm not gonna even say that. Tisha was like peaches out of a can, which is cute, but you have to drain the juice. But if you had to pick, I'm taking Peggy Bundy. You know, I'm not gonna argue that one. But Tisha was cute once upon a time. I mean, I think give me, I want to say House Party 1 and definitely School Days. Not School Days, but School Days. I think Spike's second movie. Yeah, that's when she looked the best with the frosted hair. Back in the day. But I never was. I was more Tisha on, if you must know. I'm going to go with Beyonce on that one. I mean, Mary to me looked her best back in about, oh God, what I want to say. It was about the late 90s. It was on point. But especially, I think, when I heard the stories about Suge and Tupac and him rolling with her back then. But Beyonce is she's stacked, But I don't like I don't like how the whole, I don't know what's going on cosmetically with her. But out there, I'm gonna give Beyonce that is of the two. But Mary had it going on late 90s. She had it going on for a window, Oh yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh yeah, yeah. She didn't get no love. See, that's the sad part. And that's how you know we black, because we talking and how she wasn't a bad actress either. She actually had more acting chops than Jada did. Jada stopped really acting when she started doing all them hood movies. Because after Set It Off and then she did Woo, yeah, almost, she done. I know she was in uh, um, she was in I hate it when I had these moments when I'm trying to think. It ain't coming to me. I want it to come to me. Because, let's see. Let me get my stuff out here. hate it when I'm talking about because we start talking about Jada and I gotta remember. Okay. Yeah, when she did Matrix. Yeah. But that's it though. Oh, Joy Taylor, come on now. Rachel is bad, but Joy is stacked, man. Joy is stacked. Joy does those little mini video clips she do. Rachel bad though. Rachel got that vibe, got that appeal, but Joy, Joy got beat. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. But she bad though. I mean, I Rachel, but it's kind of like Rachel got that cute vibe and can fix it up with Joy. Uh, Sometimes I'll just watch that show because she'll be sitting next to Whack, uh, whatchamacallit on, uh, with her and Shady and what they doing do. Pretty much you have to lock that up and try to kill it. That's true. But I think the way I understand it, she's kind of high maintenance. And I ain't heard, what was that? Oh, God. Who was the brother playing the NBA? Because I forgot now. I can't even think who she was. That's what he used to be on the six. Because he won. I forgot all about that. But Joy kind of on that. I know when before she started, and that's interesting. I give Joy props. Oh, she married a white boy again because she was messing with it. It wasn't Kevin. Who was the brother she was messing with that used to be on the Sixers? Because he was, Earl Watson. Yeah. Also, she broke up with Earl and went back to the white boy because originally, the first time I encountered Joy, obviously knowing that Jason was her brother. See, you a real fan for real. But anyway, the first time I encountered her, I want to say it was about 10 years ago. And obviously, about with Jason and all that, but she was married to a white dude. They went to college together. He was real stiff. One of them being potato cats, barbecue light sauce and potato salad. And what happened was that didn't last long. And I think he was keeping her locked up, So then she got into doing TV. And she was kind of like the Jane Kennedy of her generation, but actually got some skills. Joy got skills. Sometimes she slurps certain personalities though, so But I didn't know I know I had seen something with her and Earl and I forgot about it. And I don't know if they gave her some street cred or not. I don't even know. I had kind of forgot all about it. No, see, that's the thing. She could have too, because you got to remember something. Her brother was a big time player. She was in the South Beach area. And they would have modeled her after Jane Kennedy, who didn't buck dance either. So Joy was following in that kind of imagery. See, none of this stuff is new. Yeah, to be now. Before your time when Jane Kennedy was on network TV with Herb Cross, Brett Musburger, Jimmy the Greek, and Phyllis George at the time. CBS football on Sundays. And I like Jane. Jane got into fitness videos before she married her second husband. But when she did, that's what took her career off because she got into the video market right around the Richard Simmons era. But anyway, Joy, she didn't do that. She surprised, and I'm always going to say this, I'm surprised because of an attractive soul sister that has a platform. But she worked with nothing but brothers on the first, even though that show was cornball. Because Ocho, whatever, Oro, that one brother, he's corny and a sellout too. I do like Shady though. But Shady be acting too much like a cat that beat the club jangling jewelry. And she ain't buying that. Because Colin Coward is a cornball. And see, actually, she would probably gave him a shot, but he just looks like a drunk white boy who might slip up and say the N-word and just say something stupid. So I see why that wouldn't happen. Yeah. Besides watching his show, he gonna say something real real flip. Because sometimes he be talking like he drunk, you know, and he be having some wild takes. Wow. Very wild. So, you know, but yeah, sure they all try. Because I do know that she was with Shannon and Skip. So she felt kind of awkward with she felt kind of awkward with them. But that one white chick, the blonde one, she and Shannon were cool. The one that fell out with Skip, she and Shannon had chemistry. I be watching them shows. I be kind of peeping out what I kind of pick up on. But Joy's cool. Yeah, she hecka cool and stacked. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's good too. I mean, I give her props, and she ain't sold out, so she gets props from me. Yeah, yeah. Jamal, he'll be kind of all over the place. You know, kind of come across like she's feminine behaving. Yeah, I remember that's who I was thinking of, Jenny Taft. Well, no, because what happened was Jenny Taft dissed Mike McCarthy's body shape, and Skip and her got into it, and because Skip keeps himself super thin and fit, and they got into it, and Jenny Taft showed some spunk, and she clapped back. Jenny, bad little thing, and cool people too. I like Jenny. You know, should have known right there with that whole exchange that was going to be the end of that show, as you knew it, because, you know. Well, that may be a reason why you don't see a moderator with the show now, because he's got Keyshawn Sherm and Michael Irvin. And so they did away with the female moderator, which I think hurts the show, even though they bring Rachel Nichols for the NBA, which is corny because that's only segment. But I guess they didn't want to come across sexist. But most of these shows do have a female moderator, which works against Skip, but Skip tends to get into. So I think Skip definitely has racial hangups. He just, because I seen him and Tony Kornheiser when they deal with black, like Wilborn or saying certain things, and they're like, okay, I didn't see this coming. I didn't know that. That's what you always get, the same old, being in white world, didn't see it coming kind of mindset. So it trips me out. But Jenny Taft brought some, but what happened was that episode, I'll never forget that episode because she was talking about when her coach, she talking about it, and she was like, wow, she really went in on Skip. So, but Skip sets himself up for that sort of stuff, I got an interesting thing for you too. I was watching because I was scrolling on YouTube. Jim Rome's show, I saw a video, and I'm tripping how him and Skip almost look alike because Rome's head now is turned into Skip. I remember that. Oh, now you come to my wheelhouse. Yeah, because Kareem stood him up and Kareem didn't give him the time of day. Kareem went through the same thing that Barry Bonds went through. And when I hear all these people talk about they got Kareem as one of their top 2 or 3 basketball players, or Kareem never got a head coaching job offer, I will share this with you. I remember watching Around the Horn. I don't know if you still watch that garbage, but I used to watch that mess. And that's when Woody Page came on, and he said, I'd never give Kareem anything. Show me the white power right there, because he came out and said that because of how Kareem was. Oh, they remember. They let it be known. And of course, I remember Jay Mariotti, how he used to slurp Michael Jordan, but he really hated black folks. See, I was here to that back then. It happens. It happens. I mean, you can have family members that you don't talk to because for different reasons. That's not uncommon. You know what they say? All skin folk ain't kinfolk. So, because you can get cooler and closer with somebody that you don't even have association with because they just treat you right and they know how to, the lingo. So that's not too far fetched. But I imagine Skip's ego and the way he carries himself is a bit heavy for most. And he strikes me as kind of cold, distant, and very, his wife has to deal with that a lot. Boundaries. and he's probably real anal retentive and probably, particular and meticulous. So it's just some things that he does, and some of it is ADHD, ACD, age. You know how he is with his synchronicities, but you know he's also just a shock jock too. He's no different than what Howard Stern. Some of them do that. They got it's a white boys club of doing that. So I'm not shocked or surprised at all, at all. But I heard about that with that, and I go back with the Kareem story. I've heard a lot of them things. Mm-hmm. Because growing up when I did, we used to see stuff in print, and we knew what we used to say back in the day. Cats were too black, so they didn't get the same shine because they weren't being pushed forthright like certain other athletes. That's why if somebody asks you about Adrian Dantley, how come Adrian Dantley didn't get the same acknowledgement as Julius Erving? Now, Dr. J was a better player, but it ain't always about just that. It's also how you play the game. Michael Jordan was hip enough to know that because that's what he said about Clyde Drexler. And back in the day, it used to be you're too black. It still has those implications today that how when you keep up with music, certain artists got the money put on them, certain ones didn't, because they want them to be appealable. It's like a plantation, so it's no different. So nothing's changed. It's different now. It's not like quite like that, but that's how it used to be because you didn't have the technological. Yeah, they do. I'm not in WJ, Brandon Wilbur. No, he's in denial about that picture from around that time. He know exactly what it was like in the South. Dak's a good boy because Dak is too happy to be the job he's got. He ain't gonna steer the cart. Dak's a good boy. And Mike Irvin feels like he's so happy that they welcomed him because of Master Jimmy Johnson and Master Jerry Jones and the U. And Stephen A. already told you he'll do whatever it takes to make the man happy on the ESPN plantation. So they all defend that. They know that man is racist trash. They know what the Cowboys are about. I have a good time with their karma coming because it's good that they not winning and that arrogance. This man has never hired a black head coach. Yeah, he's got some black personnel on his staff, but it's not front and center. And I know on good authority, he really didn't want Dak to be his quarterback because he was slurping for Romo. But he hooked Romo up with that blazer and that job that you see with Jim Nantz. Don't think that Romo's good luck charms and good captain, smiles and all that was the only reason why he can talk and he's good at what he does. But that's Jimmy Johnson production there, my friend. Jimmy Johnson hooked Romo, so these things ain't by accident, so. But yeah, everybody knows he is. Troy Aikman almost comes out and says the stuff, but he ain't gonna bump the cart too much. But they know. The white boys know how Jerry Jones gets down. And you notice Emmitt Smith doesn't really venture there per se. He says some stuff because he did skip. Emmitt's a brother from the back road, so Emmitt, no. I saw it. And maybe I might do a video about it. I don't know if I really want to do a video about him engagement. I don't really care about Tim Scott's personal life. He's not entertaining enough. And what I mean by entertaining enough, he's a third-tier politician on a good day. He's a corny butt brother who it feels like somebody just told him, okay, we'll let you through, boy. You seem to be a good one. But he doesn't stand for nothing. There's nothing. He's nondescript. And that's the problem why I hate wasting my time with cats that, at least give me a reason to either think you suck or you don't or something. I just don't feel there's nothing there. If Trump gets him, then Trump is scared he may be going to jail and he wants to prove that he has some black support. But Tim Scott ain't exactly the person. I guess in a way, Tim Scott is kind of like the black version of Mike Pence because he's stiff and boring, except um, Pence is a straight white church Bible thumping cat. I don't really, Tim Scott just strikes me as just kind of like Larry Elders and some of these other brothers who, I'm going to tell you something. I got no problem. I always tell this all the time. I don't care who you're with. I don't care your politics per se, but see, black folks who do conservative get it all twisted and wrong. No one says you have to go out of your way and hold your ankles to say that you are conservative and that you don't appreciate talking about affirmative action stuff without even knowing the rules and the regulations of it. Because Colin Powell broke it down, and he didn't sound all conservative, but he didn't sound liberal. So that's the problem I have with the so-called black conservatives. They go out of their way, just like people who are part of the LGBTQ community, go out of their way to throw agendas. Be what you do. But if you ain't got the skill set, yeah, he's going to be like the Django. I mean, I see that. But see, Trump is part of it. And that's why I know what Trump's about. But see, Trump ain't as hip as some of these folks, especially some of these black folks, like to make him out to be. Because if he is trying to get somebody like Tim Scott, that makes Trump look worse than Tim Scott. Tim Scott's in a win-win situation. Trump can't even get a legit brother. He can't even attract a legit brother. But I guess it's out of him and Carson. And we know Ben Carson's a tap dancing giant, so out of him and Tim Scott, that's a sad state of affairs for Trump. But you see, you already know how I feel about Trump's game. He's a hustler. And there's no shame. So that's nothing to get excited about. So, and I've seen his fiance. She's all right looking cheap. She's all right looking. But that's not going to stray whatever he is. I don't know. No one's sitting around, thinking, oh, Tim Scott, you did the thing. That just looks like bad PR. Okay. All right. That's just like bad PR. That's what it looked like to me. Like he, looks all scripted. So I'm not really paying no mind. Yeah, it could be Starburst crew. But, with me, I'm not going to go into what his orientation or whatever he is. My thing with him is that he just don't have no personality. And no matter what he is, his so-called being a political politician gives me boring, bland, generic, cornball, stiff, stuck, nothing there. So you're probably right about the Starburst vibes, but I just don't really. I wish he had something that said that this cat has some personality. He just doesn't. He bland. So I mean, I hope his marriage is legit. I'm not really into it because I just think he's corny. And again, if Trump's going to use him and pimp him, then that makes Trump look even worse than him. That's how I look at it. That's a W for Tim Scott's corny behind, because that's what Trump did. And see all these people here who think Trump's got it like that and got game. That's how embarrassing it is. He's got to get anybody. Well, because first of all, he's not going to get DeSantis because that's too predictable. But DeSantis was so whack. He tried to use the Trump playbook. It didn't work. Defensive tackles. Okay, let me get my brain out. Defensive tackles. I want to say, let's see. Let me get my thoughts going. Because I got this off the top. I'm going to say Sap, Alan Page, because I gotta give Alan Page his due. I think John Randall. I'll stop right there. Okay, kickers. Adam Vinatieri. That was a bad boy. And to me, he during that Patriots first run, first year of Brady's first three, you can make the case he was the next most important offensive force. Vinatieri. I want to say Mark Mosley back in the day for Washington. That dude was a beast as a kicker. See, you making me think. And Gary, your premium was bad back then. I used to like Raphael Septien. I'm not gonna say any Buffalo Bills for obvious reasons. Let's see. And I like Jan Stenerud, Tony French. Ray Werjing for San Francisco was a bad boy. Gary Anderson. Arnershka was a bad boy. Old boy for Denver who kicked that 63, who matched Tom Dempsey's record. Oh, God, he used to play for the Broncos. I know Barnes for KC's bad. And Baltimore's got it, what's his butt is bad. But the cat that kicked for Denver, he matched. That cat could kick too. So them cats come to mind. Yeah. Yeah. I never get asked about kickers, and I go all over the eras with them. I thought obviously George Blanda would get strong consideration too. See, kicking is a trip these days because nowadays, I'll tell you, this kickers are like guys who shoot threes. Can't kick anything inside. I'm gonna be honest with you. My happiest day hasn't come yet. That's a Bills fan. That will be the happiest. That hasn't come yet. But the Yankees winning against the Padres made me feel really good. There was this girl I met back then. That's what her and me. When they won, I was on a high. So that was a personal high. The Yankees won, and I think I was happy with the Heat in 06. And then when they won in 2011, because I came across this other chick and she was hating on LeBron at the time. And she said, well, it took him long. And I said he won. I said, when the Heat won, those two were very happy. And of course, I've had individual happiness with Tiger Woods winning or Serena. Michigan win, I'm sure you know that got me happy being Washington. But I wouldn't say my best euphoria still awaits. So if the Bills ever do it, that would be the happiest. Because I've, rooted for people when they won and the teams I've rooted for. Obviously, Harbaugh, Michigan winning and the Yankees winning. And the Heat winning, but you gotta say Wilt. You gotta say Kareem. You gotta say Jordan. Um, those three come to mind, and then I want to say I'm gonna do a flip. I marvel at his ability to be so precise with the way he does it. And then before people, Karl Malone would be impressive for those guys. It made it look kind of effortless. Durant's scoring is something special. It is poetic. I will say that. And I did do a video about his. He could score. I love his athleticism. Not so much as he did score. He did have that big. He did have his moments. He had his moments. But when I think about David Thompson, that's a guy that could have been even better. There's a lot of reasons he could have been even greater. Could have been even greater. He also would have fit in real good in today's game. He could have been. The last guy that I would probably pick as far as my top favorite NBA scores of all time, probably George Gervin, because he made it look so incredible. So those are my but Durant would make that list. Guys I like to watch score. But Wilt predated me, but I marvel at him. Kareem, because that skyhook was the greatest shot ever. No one is touching that as far as just a pure, scoring. And then, Jordan. Let me think. Let's see if I say that right. That means I'm going to think he was better than Julius Erving. And I can't say that because Dr. J was better in the ABA than him. But I'll say, far as his leaping ability, his skill set, he was a freak. But if I say he was the strawberry, because he had an it. Is he the most guy that I thought of when I think of a guy who had an incredible it? I'd probably tell you Len Bias, if I'm honest. Thompson had incredible wing, yeah. But Bias is the dude that I thought would have been that dude. Bias was like a precursor to LeBron with the Dominique Wilkins spring. David Thompson had crazy spring and could score and everything. But I don't think I looked at him quite like that dude. But he is in that kind of conversation. It's one of them what ifs. But I hadn't really even thought about stuff. Oh, talking about contact? Okay, we're talking just putting the bat on the ball. Barry Bonds, for me. That I was impressed with, I'd say Ricky Henderson. I'd say Tony Gwynn. You got to give Ted Williams his due. Pete Rose, that's 5. And you can make a case for Ichiro, but then say George, but you can case for him to underrated. You can make a strong case for Willie Mays. You can make a case for Roberto Clemente. There you go. Because those guys hit for power and for average. So there you go. Depends what your criteria is. Albert Pujols, good call. Yeah. See, I missed that. That's the only one I didn't say. You can make a case for those guys. So, if I say Manny, I'm going to say Barry before I say Manny. But, I mean, Manny was bad. But Frank Thomas would have a stronger case, too. So, and it depends on what kind of hitter you're talking about. but we talking contact, guys who get on base, create. Ricky was one of my guys. So Wade Boggs, yeah, that's a great call there. And I didn't even mention Wade. Wade was a bad boy. So was Robbie Alomar. So it all depends on what your criteria is. It's going to be more infielder guys, though. Outfielder guys ain't going to get that predominantly, or less. It's going to be more the wiry guys. See, it's so much stigma and stereotype with that. It's the sad part about it. Yeah. But Boggs was a bad boy, though. He talked crazy trash, too. Close. I mean, I guess if you put Harold Baines in, then yeah. And if you put some other guys that they're kind of putting in, but if I'm going based on what I looked at in the repertoire of the picture, not quite. If it's the good to the really good, the very good, yeah. But do I look at him as a HOF based on what I thought? Not quite. He wasn't the most dominant center fielder. He was good. He was very good, really good, and very popular. I think his popularity pushed him to another level. But I don't know if I look at him quite as Hall of Fame worthy. That's all I'm saying. But it's to each and their own. I liked him a lot, though. I liked him a lot. Because he was, he definitely had some moments. But, Tomei, Albert Bale, Manny, he ain't them dudes, though. Or Robbie Alomar. I mean, just thinking about some of the cats on Cleveland Cats. But he was good, though. I liked him. So. Well, obviously, when he threw the best stick back at Piazza, that was my favorite. Because his intimidation, he came up big. I mean, like, he had some big pitching games. He came up big, and when he was dominant in the postseason, I mean, that's what stood out for me more than anything. I liked he just had a leadership role. He came in, he fit, he got, he had some big games in I remember a game against Seattle. He came up big. There was different games that his styling moved me, and he fit like a glove, I got a lot of great Clemens moments. I say it like this, I wasn't the biggest Roger Clemens fan, on the personal side, but in terms of him as a pitcher, oh yeah, he's arguably the greatest right-hand pitcher ever, maybe the greatest pitcher ever. Well, El Duque, it's hard for me to recollect with the Hernandez. Pettit games for me were always, we needed to win game 2. Andy Pettit would always come on the postseason and come up. That's where I really loved Andy Pettit, because he gave you them 7 strong 8 innings. Now I must say this about Pettit. He will never be mistaken for Ron Guidry. But come postseason and coming up clutch and giving you strong innings and being consistent, he was that dude. He's one of the most clutch Yankee pitchers ever, for my money. I liked Orlando. I liked him. He was good. He came up with him again. But Pettit was one of those guys that was a gamer. It was like one of those guys that you knew you were gonna have. He was gonna give it to you. He didn't disappoint when they needed to win a game. Andy was like consistent. That's one of the reasons why when all the juice stuff came down, Andy was one of the guys that got. Yeah, see, if you were a Yankee fan in the 90s, people used to always talk about buying and owning stuff. But we had a nickel and dime team. We didn't have before we got Clemens and don't even act like Canseco and Gooden and Cone and Strawberry were still in their peak and prime. We had a nickel and dime teams of guys that kind of felt the position. And Tino was integral. He did his part, and Paul O'Neill did his part. They were pieces that fit the cog. They were really, you know, balancers, and they were nickel and dime. They get the little hits, they do the little things, but they weren't over the top. That's why they fit, and that was an era where people can't, they didn't dominate. Yeah, Nobla couldn't throw worth nothing, but he could hit. Nobla was he was one hitting cat. Dystra, only Dystra I know is Lenny, and that was with the Mets. But Girardi was big as a catcher. He came up big. Girardi, who later became the manager. Yeah, the thing about it is they fit in real well, but there was no sense of, because you gotta remember something. These guys who we got, some of these guys, they were veterans. Like when they got Canseco, when they got Dwight, so they weren't prime and peak, but they came in and they hit and they earned their keep in their spot. But they were removed from their pay. Bernie Williams, don't sleep on Bernie. Bernie was huge for the Yankees. Bernie was huge. Bernie was huge. So, um, that was huge. When he wasn't playing guitar and making music, he was doing things in the outfield. So they had the right chemistry, right balance of talent. Rivera came up big. I mean, they just had the right everything. All the stars were aligned. So it was harmonious. That's why they were able to win so effectively. Now I know people are going to come out and say that the shortstop position in the '90s was the apple pie. You can say that Tejada, Garcia Pera, those guys were better shortstop for hitting for power than Jeter. But Jeter, everything started. Yeah, we got Matsui at the end of the O's. That's right when they got A-Rod, and later on. He came big in the later part, the last run. But that run that they had in the '90s, they were going more towards either the farm or old school vets that just kind of fit. So that made it work. So I was glad Steinbrenner didn't do nothing stupid. It worked. I think that's why they were so successful. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems just like yesterday. It's a long time. Did I hate the most? You're a funny dude. And the thing is, what I hate, I respect him though. Obviously, Kyle Yastrzemski. His grandson plays for the Giants, and he's balling, but he ain't quite his Gramps. But Yaz comes up, and he was a hateful white boy, but he was bad. I hated Clemens. I was so glad the Mets beat them. Oh boy, think I wasn't happy. Yes, I was. Even though he was a great player in there, Carlton Fisk hated that whole pushing the ball against Cincinnati. Even as a kid, I thought, oh God, but he was great. Them three. Okay, and before I get to that, I still got two more Red Sox. So give me just one more. Who else did I hate that was a Red Sox? I didn't really hate Johnny Damien with Boston. He just came a big um obviously Big Poppy. He got, oh God. He crushed us so much. He crushed. We got crushed. That always hurt. I hated going against Pedro Martinez, but when they yanked him, and that was. And then of course when they got Schilling, so there you go. I went one extra. Anyway, Johnny Damon. Well, the time we got him, he cut his hair, and it's like all his Samson powers went out. Yeah, we got him we got him past the pull date. We were about a couple of years too late getting him. So Now, I will tell you this. I used to like Fred Lynn, Jim Rice, as players. So my genuine hate of the Celtics is the cats that beat us bad. That's where it comes from. We used to always pull Pedro like I was like, oh yeah, I didn't like Arroyo either. I didn't like him. He's a bit of a problem. But Ortiz is probably in recent memory. Yeah. He did the thing though. So that's a good question too, because I never get asked about my favorite, my infamous Red Sox that I hate the most. I'd be more. Most people would ask me who I hate more about the Miami Dolphins as a football fan, or and I really don't. You know what? In other sports, it's not really five deep. It's just the team on a whole. But baseball, I can tell you off the top. Basketball, not so much, and football, not so much. But baseball, I could definitely tell you because individualized, it really comes up to this guy. You like this guy. Now, way Bars came up big for both, just like Clemens did. So, and I never did hate my least favorite Yankees. Well, it's blasphemy to say this, but I'm gonna say some names, so take heed. Yogi Berra gets on my nerves. He's not Bill Russell. He's got all them rings, but let's not get it twisted. He wasn't that great of a catch. He wasn't going to be mentioned with Roy Campanella or Johnny Bench or those guys, or Gary Carter or Pudge Rodriguez. But he got the rings. It's kind of like the Bob Cousy thing. Some people romanticize a guy that he happened to be in the right place, right time. Not saying he didn't have no talent, but he wasn't that dude. So he gets on my nerves. Thurman Munson's racist ways and vibe. He was great for where he was. Oh, so you want me to come Martin, huh? If I came Martin, it's the two most known ones you know. That's what's gonna trip you out. Aaron Judge version of Jeter, but it just stat pad. I just ain't. And Giancarlo Stanton, it ain't happening. He's got that Paul George syndrome. He should have been or could have been a great. It just ain't there. So those two actually. Yeah, I mentioned. So Martin, I said Yogi, Munson, Goose Gossage. And I loved him when he was in his groove, but he acted like he was so that he couldn't get hit. He's the one that gave up that big shot to George Brett that got the ball, tore the cover off. He was big for what he did, but don't act like he would end all. I respect his thing, but we did let him go to San Diego because he's got amnesia. They let him go for a reason. He didn't retire a Yankee like Rivera did. And I mentioned, Martin. I said too. There was no. Oh, look, I tolerate David Wells because he helped us win, but he's Rush Limbaugh like, and I don't like him personally. And you think he could be drunk and pitch because I don't know. Oh, there were a lot of guys that those guys. It's more like on the personal side, because I mean, those guys come about. I would say. I already said Giancarlo Stanton. I said him because the guy that was in Miami hit for a lot of home runs and power and stuff, but that guy hasn't returned. And the problem with him is that he's just not a leader. He stat pads. He can hit some incredible shots, but he just is not that dude. So, and he doesn't really compliment AJ, and they don't compliment one another. That's why they went and got Juan Soto. So I know Giancarlo's a donor there. And I think I got turned off by how he tried to downplay Barry Bonds as an L. Rucker too. Barry Bonds was there teaching them for a moment. So I'm not feeling him. Okay. Okay. So I'm getting kind of tired of our manager too. hmm He's got Jim Harbaugh syndrome. So if Harbaugh got up the schneid, he got to get up the schneid too. Because Mister win 90 games and don't do nothing and get you in the postseason. I don't know how much more he could take. You did know? Oh yeah. This was, you might find it. It was low key because Bones was a bad coach there. You remember before he went back out to Frisco. Yeah. hmm But that's not why. That's not the only reason why I ain't feeling him. I just think that it's kind of like the Paul George syndrome. I see a guy that they hype up and he just stat pads, and then I'm waiting for him to come through. And they've been waiting on the moon for him to come back and take him back to Earth, and it doesn't. They've gone over because he crossed over. He had some kind of, but it didn't. It didn't go where it was supposed to. Yeah, he's talented, but he ain't that dude. And then he's a sidekick to the dude, and it just feels like empty calories. I ain't feeling him. I ain't feeling him. And him and Aaron Judge together just ain't the dynamic dude. Okay, so Mookie Betts to me is like on that Babe Ruth tip, leaving Boston. They haven't really recovered since they let him go. He fits good with the Dodgers. He's a bad boy. He's a bad boy, but the Dodgers just underachieve all the time. Trout, I like, but he's overrated. Does him out to be as great as Bonds because he can't stay healthy for one. And also him and Shohei now going to the Dodgers, so Shohei going to team up with Mookie. For all the talent Troughton had with him, he can't stay healthy. He can't deliver. He's a regular season domino, dynamic, but they always average. Please explain that away to me. Because Trout doesn't bring it. He had Albert Pujols. It didn't happen. He had Shohei. It didn't happen. Stayed average. But you want to know something? If you've been really paying attention, so since it was it like 2007 when they had Manny and Manley was their manager, Torrey came in, all that stuff they had, all they had. See, I hate it when people who hate the Yankees always say, y'all buy everything, all that. I said, well, what has the Dodgers done since the last 15 years? They've had a stacked pile roster. Arguably one of the greatest pitchers, definitely of his era, if not all time, with Clayton Kershaw. Dave Roberts, who knew a thing or two about winning, and all they got to show for it is the bubble ring. Ironically, they won the bubble ring the same time the Lakers did. Well, I'm going to disagree on one thing. That Atlanta team did get to multiple World Series, and Chipper Jones was clutch. They had great pitching. It's just that the Yankees were better, and they lost a heartbreaking World Series to Minnesota because Kirby Puckett played his behind off. The Dodgers have only been to how many World Series in the last 15 years with the talent they had? That's the difference. I'm going to say this. I will live with going to the show as opposed to underachieving and don't making it. That's what's happening. The Dodgers were a first round casualty this past year to Arizona. They got waxed. Clayton got waxed. So they have underachieved way more than Atlanta. At least Atlanta did get to the show and they won the one chip, but they were in the World Series when they lost twice to the Yankees, to Minnesota, to Toronto, and they beat Cleveland. But they did make five. They made those appearances and they were there. What have the Dodgers seen the World? How many World Series have they seen? They lost to Houston and got the bubble one. But they haven't really dominated like you would think what they got. Yeah, he is. He's a good pitcher. So, I applaud teams that get to the show, win or lose, because it's dominance. You got to go through them. That's kind of what I give Patrick Mahomes. He's a dominant figure. Andy Reid, Kansas City. If you're dominating, win or lose, people got to go through you. But the Dodgers haven't made that kind of noise. The Giants won 3 rings. St. Louis won rings. Houston's won multiple rings. So the Dodgers have underachieved. Texas been a 3-1-1 in the last decade. Dodgers can't say that. Win or lose. Rosie. Because Rosie got an appeal that be Like it just feel good. Tyra to me like she be doing a push up bra or something. I don't know. I don't know. Tyra be kind of because I don't think he would be quick to jump off of Rosie. The last time I saw somebody yam for Tyra was Chris Webber. If you remember that locker room exchange with the reporter, he about lost it. How long ago was that? I don't know. Tyra, it seems like a lot of acting with that. It's almost like a speed dial girlfriend. You ever gone on, you see them speed dial dates, some 15-minute dates? That's kind of what I feel with her. But the Rosie, I just feel a little bit more genuine, even though she talked a little too much, what she said about Spike Lee. And Rosie, to me, is a little bit bitter now because they gave all the money to Jennifer Lopez because they were in the same boat, except Rosie had more talent, but just saying. But they played kind of in the same slot. But if you, yeah, I give Rosie the edge. I like Rosie a little bit more, you know, because Tyra tried a little too hard, you know. Oh, oh man, if you could put Christina Milana's femininity on Alicia Keys' body, you're never coming out your house again. Because she's got the femininity that drives you crazy. Alicia got that stacked cake. I gotta go over to AK on that. AK's body is the body's banging. Milana's got the better cuteness. So if we could combine the two, that would be that you would never. But I guess AK. But I love me some Christine Milana. She just didn't have AK's bang. It's close though. But yeah, Milana had AK. If you put her femininity on AK, I love them both. Love them both. She ain't got that bang though. She got that body to bang. So I gotta give it to it. Just gotta give it a little bit more. But Bassett is bad though. She bad. And better actress and all that. And I could say should be in the Black Meryl Streep situation. Played everybody's mama and wife, etc. But Tanisha, I gotta give it to TA. TA on the body though. That made me think that for a moment though. Oh, for me, it's Susanna Summers because there was an appeal about her that just left me. Now, Sally was nice. Sally was nice when she fixed herself up, but Susanna always had that thing. She had that thing. There was a certain aura about her, certain aura. But Sally, kind of tomboyish, had that thing, but she fixed it up, you know. But I think Burt Reynolds just knocked all of it out of it, though. I don't know. But Susanna just had that kind of whip about her for me. For me. That's a good call, though, because I had to think back. That was back in the day call. And Sally did have that, you know. Sally was cute. She was cute. But Susanna Summers always kind of got me like, first that vibe. You asked me this back when she did the Inkwell to about when she had her short hair. I would have told you Jada back in the day, but Taraji got a beat. Taraji stacked. It's just Taraji like she bored. You know, ain't nobody, I don't know. And the funny thing is that Jada be acting funny with cats and cats still want her. Taraji gets dumped by cats and she still like she kind of thirsty. But Taraji's stacked more. Taraji's stacked more. She's stacked more for me. Jada got that bald head now, and he be scared. Back in, she still keep her body up, but she was better back in the day. Back in the day, Jada, but easily Taraji. When you say this, it depends on which era we talking. And we talking Kirstie Alley Madhouse era with that movie. Because I remember this brother used to work at this video store, and he had me in stitches. He said that was the baddest white woman you ever seen in a silhouette. Because we was talking about that Madhouse movie. Because she was stacked. Yeah, I know Kirstie Alley. I know she was stacked back then. Stacy was cute, and if we going prime to prime, prime to prime, Kirstie Alley, prime to prime. And since Stacy then sold out, yeah, she was but stacked. Stacy was prettier, but Kirstie was stacked back then. Back when she first was with Parker Stevens. Mm-hmm. The old one, the prime time Kirstie. Not the Kirstie post the 90s, no. Not the last 20. Stacy still got it going on, but prime time Kirstie, I go prime. I like some of these. I like some of the ones because I had to think about how I remember how they were, how they looked, especially when you said the Sally and Susanna. That was a good one. And I always have to put like a asterisk and a question mark on someone. Oh, Hillary. Yeah. Prime Hillary. Yeah. Yeah. Especially when it was in that that movie with Kid and Play. Yeah. 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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hillary. Blowout. Not even close. Not even close. Well, Diana had an appeal. She had a sex appeal about her. Didn't carry a lot of weight. Had appeal. I would probably give a nod to Farrah, but Diana definitely had appeal about her though. She had a certain style. It's close. It's close. But I give Farrah just a little bit. Tracy Ellis Ross in a blowout. You know, Megan Stack, TER. I don't know how Anthony Anderson don't mess up lines with that. I'm just saying. I mean, and I still remember the video with her and Kanye. I'm like, I mean, when I see her, I think, oh, Steve Wonder about to get his eyesight back. Yeah. Yeah. So, TER. Mm-hmm. Yeah, every year she looks good, and she's got the right weave on her head, right wigs on. Yeah, yeah. I mean, Donna Ross is, but she filled up. It took her time though. You know, the right wigs definitely. You know, Maya. I know Pink is well fit and all that, but that's not even up for me. Pink, the short hairdo works good in the Jamie Lee Curtis kind of way, but Maya was stacked. Maya. It's kind of like Christina Milano, the little feminine thing. Something about that just drive me crazy. And she probably smell like lemony or something. You just go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You be dancing in a circle behind that. Smell good. Yeah. So Maya. Mm-hmm. Maya got it. But Pink ain't, I mean, Pink's athletic and all that. You know, tomboyish, nice looking chick. All right. All right. Oh, Doris Burke. Not only can she ball and got knowledge, she's stacked. I seen her on one of them broadcasts. This was some years ago. She got up. I was like, oh yeah, she's stacked. Malika got that cute face and stuff, but Doris got the stack, yo. It's the stack. It's the stack. That's because she had so, and I'm gonna say this: if you go to the barber shop, especially if you go to where women do hair, and I learned this a long time ago, the white girls got this white chick. Um, yeah, she is. Um, they line their hair up a certain way, it's almost like a code. So it was done by how I read industry wise to give yourself like a black female flip on the top. It's kind of like I think Stephanie Mills rocked it. Some black women do rock it. It's a certain kind of Jada was rocking it too. So it's a kind of flip on the top, and it looks like that because of the imagery, because of the way it's cut real fine on the sides. So it's like a black female do. If you ever go to a black female stylist, and she have her hair kind of like part looped a little bit on the top and smooth on the side, you know, yep. And that was done on purpose. Now that was L.A. Reid. L.A. Reid did that on purpose. Because see, this is the thing. I grew up around black female hairstylists. My grandmother had a real good hairstylist. The woman who did her hair, and she also had a dude who did it, but she had a woman who did it, and the woman was really up on that. And they, when you see certain styles, and so if a white chick is doing it, she's either messing with a brother. It's almost like these codes in the streets. I kid you not. I am not lying. That was like a sign that she'd been around a brother. She had her hair done a certain way, look done like that on purpose. So it was like, it was like curly a little bit on, had a layer. When Pink first came out, it was done like that on purpose. Mm-hmm. Very few, and so it's almost like a white girl trying to pass. Even Tina Marie didn't do that. What Pink did. Tina Marie had that kind of curly fro with kind of like, and Larry Bird had like that perm but early, but that's kind of like, you'd have to see the hair, but yeah, Pink definitely, because I want to say Nona Gay was rocking that look in the 90s too. It's like the baby curls on the top. Jada rocked it too. If you've seen a Low Down Dirty Shame, there you go. If you ever see the clip from a Low Down Dirty Shame or how she had that swirl, yeah. Yeah, but Taylor won't do it in public though. You know. And it's gonna be a certain type of brother too. It ain't gonna be just he's gonna have to be like an industry, it's gonna be some stiff brother. She ain't messing with, she ain't gonna be messing with Young Thug or messing with Tiger or somebody like that. It ain't gonna be somebody or someone look like Cassidy. You know what I'm saying? Ain't gonna be that kind of brother. It's gonna be one of them corporate type brothers, kind of stiff. Yeah, I know about that with Amanda Bangs, but Amanda Bangs didn't really blow up like that. If you do, you better do it like Barbara Walters do it. You better be real sly with it. You better do it in a way where you make them kind of wonder. They want to preserve them as much as they can. But I'm sure most of them do love some brothers. It's just that they can't come out and say it because there's still guidelines on them plantations. A lot of white girls get thrown to go on an experiment. That's just kind of like Britney Spears and Crystal Short. Columbus Short. Yeah, let me say his name right. Because I hadn't seen that turkey in 27, 30 years. And he came out and said Puffy was trying to get him drunk or something. I hadn't seen Columbus Short. But yeah, him and Britney were for a moment. This was back when Stomp the Yard, when he had his moment. He had his 15 minutes, 12 minutes into his 15 before he did the Christmas movie with Delroy, and also with Chris Brown with C Breezy. That's when Columbus Short had it going on for him and Britney for a moment. Oh yeah. Even though TJ is a very milk toasted brother, that just goes to show you how hateful and racist the country is, because TJ is a very milk toasted brother. He's got like Brian Gumbo off shots all in him. He got his wake up call too. He's trying to talk trash about Will Smith. And they're like, she got a rude away. She didn't know well, again, a lot of white folk who don't really mess with black folks like that don't really know how racist stuff is until it happens. And then it's like, oh, I didn't know. They get this Scooby Doo, like, huh? She got her wake up. But she's down with him, though. And she ain't going back. She ain't going back white. She'll go Starburst crew before she go back with a white boy. But I think she and TJ gonna be right where they be. These white folks crack me up. They up here making TJ Holmes act like he's Larry Holmes. That's what's hilarious. They hate good acting. Yeah, because if you're not, well, yeah, because if you're too good to be true, they can't. Because there's no dignity, there's no morality. That's why. Um, Pookie and Ray Ray are stereotype, so they expect them, and that's what they like. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. They gonna hear things that they hadn't heard before too. You know, and hey, when you live in America, you can be like divided. You never have to cross the street. That's the cold reality of it all. A lot of people who don't understand about the racial dynamics don't get it about how segregated it still is until they have those encounters. And it's like, oh, wow. I didn't, we're talking 2023, oh, 2024. Oh my God, I didn't know that. That's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing. So, yeah, mama, yeah. That's the sad reality. All that, that's what's so bad. That makes it even worse because it's like you're covering the news for the whole country. You're on a conglomerate. That's what makes it so bad because it goes to show you having white privilege. See, that's privilege in itself right there that you didn't even know. You've been around black people, but you ain't really been around them until you've been around them. And then you dealing with somebody every day, every night. There you go. So welcome to the reality, Amy Robot, to America with 3Ks. Welcome. Yeah, I knew that though. Because he made a remark that if Joe could mess up something, well, he used the F word. He said if anyone could mess it up, it would be him. Because Joe is forget. Joe doesn't have any tact, and Joe is not the sharpest tool as far as dignity. He's a kind of guy that's a fighter type of dude, but he ain't the kind of guy who knows how to be smooth and polish things. And he likes to pounce, but he doesn't really have articulateness in him, and that's the difference between him and Obama. There's no articulation with Sleepy Joe. Oh yeah, I saw that mess. I didn't do a video about it because I don't know if I did. I think I spoke out on her, but I ain't really going to depth about it because again, if I do something about someone like her, if I do something about her, then I'm giving her a lot of attention, and I'm not really buying. I might, I give her some parts where she can go. What you're gonna find out is that it's like, what time a white person gonna be when a person like that gets inclusive, they have to say that hey, it's a racist country, and they need to abolish everything. But we get to reparations. No, it's like, well, can't we just give you some scratch tickets for life, or can't we just give you mall passes and get all the clothes you want, all the food you want? See, so that's what came out. Yeah, well, his wife is another one. She a lily white chick. She ain't, again, they've been segregated legally. Well, I already know about his track record with his '94 crime bill and Bill Clinton too. And I never ever trust no white person who has the audacity to say you ain't black if you don't vote for me, especially when last I checked, you ain't pushing reparations. Last I checked, you only quote Dr. King when his birthday comes around. You don't really quote black life per se. So it's not like you didn't say that, hey, um, Jim Crow is wrong, police brutality is wrong. You don't speak out on nothing. So, and I know having Wheel of Fortune every racial person like Kamala Harris, but Kamala can't save you. Yeah, I remember that. And LL didn't really say nothing. I don't know if LL just thought the man was too old or he didn't really want to go upside his head or nothing. I'm not going to necessarily hold that against LL in the sense that it was in the moment where, because, you know, he was trying to perform or introduce it, he didn't really run into it. But the only thing that makes LL look bad is because of the whole song with Brad Paisley. And also, LL looks, the only thing that works against LL is that he's hosting all these award shows like he's an elderly statesman and he's always front and center with these folks, which I do believe LL got hooked up with, maybe Quincy Jones. You can do your own reading between the lines with that. How LL been getting hooked up with all these premiere parties as the MC. Hmm, just saying. Of course, he's on CSI, which is controlled by CBS, top rated show. Someone made sure LL had a steady flow of income. Someone's definitely been watching LL. And he's not the what I call the most articulate cat. Yeah, I like Cube's business acumen, obviously being able to have his portfolio turn over to movies and be successful with stuff. But yeah, there's some selling out going on. Cube is so busy worrying about these politicians, which, you know, he really pushes an agenda. You know, that's a problem that you run into. You know good and well that those cats have been bought and paid for, gatekeeping and everything that goes on with it. You already know. Two of the greatest rappers ever, though. So let me just stick to their careers if you want to. I'll debate them as two of the greatest rappers ever in my personal top 10. And, but, and they quite well successful as the big screen, well, especially Cube. They both, you know, you know, but they definitely been bought out though. And they've definitely pushed an agenda where, you know, it's not the way they once were. I understand that. Yeah, Professional Black Truth. I have to check it out. Yeah, it's a mini show. It's like what, 3 segments, 30 minutes each. Well, I'm gonna say this, and the only thing I'll say about old Lemonade, Lemon Lime, him and Chris Cuomo were money for CNN. They never got a better duo. Never got a better duo. But him slurping Elon Musk is sad. You know, you know. Will I watch it? I'll be curious about what he has. I mean, he'll be better than what CNN's got. They never replaced him. You know, the people they had on CNN, I'm sorry, they couldn't carry his eyebrows. And him and Cuomo were dynamic on that network. And I didn't always agree with Lemon by no stretch, but he was a better host on that network than what they stuck with. They suck. They boring. And when you got to go get Charles Barkley and Gayle King, no, no, no. So, no. Mm-mm. So I got a problem with that. So, I'm not surprised that Musk did it. I mean, Facebook had the table, so but she wasn't necessarily wrong, but her timing wasn't good. And everybody know Chris Cuomo been chasing skirts, him and his brother. I will tell you because I know that they usually don't mess with you when you do these live streams. We know that Andrew Cuomo got a pass by knocking off older folks in the old folks' home during a lockdown. The trade-off was because he chased all them skirts at the government mansion, so they let him walk. They let him walk. That was the trade-off. But she just didn't. She just didn't have enough strong. She wasn't strong enough, believable enough, and then some things that she did worked against her. But everybody know Chris Cuomo. Come on now. Chris Cuomo, like Matt Lauer. Come on, don't get me started. Charlie Rose, but Charlie Rose got ran off the air. They ain't run Cuomo off. Cuomo's over there with Dan Abrams on some broke network. Now it's a broke network, but he's out there. He's still talking. He's still charismatic. He's just on a network that you don't get half the CNN views. You get what we call the internet. No C there. It's just internet. So, but they don't want to hear it. They pick who they want to run off the road. There is no such thing as council woke and all that crap. They pick who they want to pick. They run off who they want. That's all it come down to. To your money get funny and to use, But they've been allowing Cuomo to do what he want to do. So, Thank you, Red. Well, I'm gonna do this again for you. Joe Gargiola is one that comes to mind. Vince Scully, Mike Brin. I like Hubie Brown, Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson, Joe Morgan, and the cat that used to be with Joe Morgan on Baseball Tonight. Can't think his name. That white dude was good. Al Michaels, back in the day. Even though I didn't like him politically or what his mouth was, Harkasel was something else. That'll never happen again. But that was a dude that, and he definitely knew his stuff. Like I said, that's what Skip and a lot of these white dudes, Jim Rome and them, a lot of these white cats, they try to fashion themselves after him. I think Troy Aikman is good. Troy is good. Romo is good. Jim Nance is good. Mike Tirico, Doris Burke, Pam Oliver. Oh, let's see. That's kind of okay. I'll just kind of do a yin and yang. Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee. And with husband and wife, and I like them both. I'm gonna do the black man and woman. Denzel Washington, Angela Bassett, Calvin Lockhart, Billy D. Williams, Shirley Frazier, Pam Grier, Sidney Poitier, and let me keep on going. Let me see. And Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, Glenn Turman, for just some black actors. John Amos. Esther Rose was a good actress. Isabel Sanford. I would say Ron O'Neal. Actors, I would say Don Cheadle. Okay, so I'll come back. Oh, yes. Okay, so we're doing the 2-0. Oh, I know what you're going to say because this is a great one. And for most people, it might be tough. It's not tough for me. Richard Pryor is the king. Now, Eddie, and even though I hold Michael Jackson in high regards, and Michael is, Michael's tied with Steve, my all-time favorite male artist, black, artistry. Eddie was like the Michael of comedy. and he's got his own separate lane. It's kind of like what I could look at Steph Curry. But Pryor, we just talking comedy and imagery and putting it together and breaking it down. No one is touching Pryor. But Eddie, as far as the black template for what you've seen the last 40 years with the black crossover success story and the guy, everybody from Chris Tucker, parts of Chris Rock, uh, Kevin Hart, that's all Eddie Murphy food chain. That's all Eddie chain. And I know Orlando Brown did a video saying everybody wants to be like Pryor. Chappelle tries to be. With Pryor mixed things in a way that was cutting on raw, but he also story time. Eddie just gets you because Eddie was a pop culture cat more so than Pryor was with it. And that's where Eddie crossed over more by, so, but they are heavyweights. They that's a strong heavyweight battle. But for me, it's Pryor. Eddie had the better film career and he crossed over. Going to say Belushi, going to say Aykroyd, going to say Eddie, Gilda Radner. I tend to like SNL more from like the early era till about maybe the start of the 90s. Farley was cool. He was cool. To me, Saturday Night Live could have been canceled the last 30 years. I know they got more black folks than they ever had, but Lorne Michaels was always a bigot. And to me, they were at their peak. Because I'm going to tell you something. Living Color ran them off the road. Mad TV ran them off the road. They around, it's kind of like Rolling Stone magazine. It doesn't mean others didn't come along and didn't make them look old, because they did. It's iconic. It's more iconic, but it doesn't mean it was the best. But Joe Piscopo, when he was on it, was funny on there to me. Him and Eddie were great. Farley was cool. They've had people that I liked on there. But, Tina Fey had her moments, I think. But I like the old school more of SNL. To me, it was more authentic. Even though I can't stand racist, but Chevy Chase, that segment with him and Pryor, you'll never see that on TV ever again. That episode was classic in 75. That was classic. That was a different era. That exchange. And Steve Martin. Steve Martin was, yeah. So I'm more inclined to the older SNL. Easily. Because to me, they could have pulled the chain on it the last 30 years. Sorry, I just ain't felt it like that. I was watching Living Color and Mad TV. I peeped SNL. They, but no. So. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Said the N-word a whole lot. Yeah. But that exchange with him and Pryor on that SNL, if you get a chance to watch that one in 75, you ain't never going to see that. You're not going to see that even in the movie uncut. That was a classic exchange. If you haven't seen it, you got to look it up. That was a classic. They were just saying words like a job interview. It looked real, too. Probably give him a two-piece. Probably give him the Will Smith two-piece. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Chevy him in Caddyshack. And he did all them Fletch movies and the movies with Goldie Hawn. To me, he was like a precursor for Adam Sandler and for Ryan Reynolds and what I call these white boys who they had this smart alecky type of vibe. It was a certain type of prototype, and he happened to fit that. But he was never, he just was a stiffy who got hooked up. So, yeah, he is. Mm-hmm. I know him and Paul Simon. He played drum. I know how he gets around, but yeah, he's an old bigot. And I want to say it was Donald Glover Was it Glover? Not Glover. They know from ATL. Yeah, he came out and he said he had chased on something. He said the N word left and right. I want to say that. Yeah, yeah. This was in recent memory too. I know about his old ways, but yeah, the ATL show. Um, he said he was just really open with it, with the N word. So. I remember his whole telephone rant, and no one tried to cancel him because he pretty much says what he wants to say. He's a passport brother because he's from Australia, I think, and they never ever came after his racist behind, just like they don't come after Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's why if they make money off of you, they tend to overlook. You know? Well, yeah, because what that told you right there is all you need to know. What you said. I'm telling them all the time when Asians or Japanese women come over to the States, they told them be looking at no brothers because they're going to get up on you. You know. Michael Rappaport is one of them white boys that got invited to the cookout. They let him come, you know, and he got to hang out with a Tribe Called Quest. He acted like he was cool, but he was just like his character in Higher Learning, you know, old bigot. I had an exchange with him once on X. He got mad because I called him. I said, "You a Q-list talent and you're a racist bigot." And I said it to him. I ain't stutter. It don't make no difference. See, I'm gonna tell you, I say this all the time. I don't care who you with. Your skin don't change. Your uniform is your uniform. He is racist trash. You know. If he wasn't a white boy, you think he's got somebody holding and hooking him up because he got no talent. Hold up, baby. I'm back. Just had to make a quick stop. Um, well, that's because I'm gonna tell you why. So that's the truth. WJ's right. But also the fact is that because the GI Joes go over to Asia and bought up all the land and told them that the white man was the end all be all. Told them that white was right, and see that mindset has been sold, you know. But the thing is that Asian got more to do with black folks because they have DNA from Africa in them too. But that's a whole nother video, another story. But they did because they want to be more whitewashed, and that's what another thing that happens with them too. They want to be more white. They don't want to be seen too dark. So they have a tendency to downplay that. They have a tendency to downplay that. So, you know. But again, G.I. Joe's take over, and it is. Well, it's because they got the DNA from us too. Again, they got DNA African traces in their blood. They love what we have in terms of culture and style and groove and rhythm. Because Mexican music ain't nothing but African music. Carlos Santana will tell you that all day. They want white acceptance. They want the lifestyle. They don't want what they don't want them per se, but they want the acceptance, and that's how they do it. It's like when you see Jennifer Lopez, mhm. You see Alex Rodriguez. Them African features are there. The roots in Jennifer Lopez's hair ain't all white, and Alex Rodriguez got a little mini afro. You know, just saying. As that there's African blood in them, and then I saw some Mexican dude on. Yeah, Ortiz is a brother. Tell me he don't look like Yaphet Kotto. If you know about the actor Yaphet Kotto, like Ortiz don't look like Yaphet Kotto's, like Yaphet Kotto and his old uncle. Look up Yaphet Kotto. Or when Forrest Whitaker was portraying Idi Amin, and they darkened Forrest up. Tell me him and Ortiz can't favor one another. Come on now. But you see, these cats walk around here thinking they half white because they got a couple white teeth and they're not really seen as black. That's how it go. Idi Amin, that's when Forrest, yeah. Mm-hmm. So they come over to the States and they're told to pretty much play, you know, they do everything that emulates our culture, but they just don't claim us in the streets. I remember when Ramon and Pedro Martinez were playing Sorry for Major League Baseball, and they had crazy, Jerry, grippy, Jermaine Jackson-like curls with gold chains. They come over emulating the brothers, except they weren't considered black. Go figure that out. That was the reality. That's why I was able to get them, but they don't identify. Not like that. Like Robbie Alomar. And he looked black. And believe me, that saliva in that umpire's face is one of the reasons why it took him so long, because they said your black saliva. But I'm just telling you how this stuff gets done. Yeah. But your uncle was truth, though. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I did a video about Lenny, and I didn't understand where Lenny was coming from, because Lenny was doing R&B songs that hit. And I got a funny story about Lenny. It was 20 years ago. So Lenny had his baptism album out. Lenny had a Superfly perm. Hair was blowed out, had it permed out, like he was ready to be in Superfly over there. Must have scared them white girls, because the next thing I know, he had him a fade and he was playing Hot Hands in a remix with Jay-Z in the video 8 weeks later. That perm was scaring him. The thing is Lenny did have, like, ain't over till it's over. The thing is that he played the flower power brother, and his songs were geared towards white rock. Oh, I knew he was a, because see, Lenny's an actor and he's a chameleon, okay? And he was geared towards white rock radio, which I will give him his due. The most important black guitarist to white rock radio since Hendrix in that regard. Not on the power level. But they sold him in a crossover level, because he was like the Negro who could play his guitar and he wasn't a threat. So he got that bass. Now, the reality is that, and he understood that for the most part. So when you mentioned Van Diesel, Lenny did have black moments. Van Diesel really tried to act like it was a bad sunburn. There's a difference. They both got issues. My Lenny's thing is more about when talking about he wasn't invited. He was there. It's just his music was corny because he was derivative and he was a mediocre cat. But Van Diesel really went out of his way to act like it was the paper bag, and he really tried to downplay it. As long as he was playing the action roles, which basically all he did was take Ving Rhames' roles and be a muscle-bound, light-skinned brother. But he tried to act like he just got sunburned. And they liked it in Hollywood. Yeah, I know about Lolo and yeah, Rock. I know about Rock. Rock don't downplay he black, but he's he crossed over. But he's crossed over to only like a segment of a type of a movie too. So he's never gonna be a leading man like you know, unless he dropped 80 pounds and they got him into a certain way. But it's a little bit different. But he's not even really. It's not the same caliber of an actor's actor, if you know what I mean. Van Diesel just took on them roles, those other cats. Yeah, she is. And she looked pretty good, but she was a good fighter. However, you asked me was a few days ago, you'd asked me my favorite MMA fighters. Well, she was bad for what she did, but she was hoping to keep it. She was like the female version of Conor McGregor because she was as big as him on the female side. So Conor kept on going with his races behind. And I don't know how that's why I can't really get into it because I know he's been past the pull date after he fought Floyd and he ain't really been much doing anything. He still draws numbers. That's why I can't really take it too serious because he's still one of the draws, even though they should have deported his races behind long ago for all that crap he did. But I knew about Lenny though. Mm-hmm. Lenny got crossover, y'all. Lenny was always a crossover dream. So, mm-hmm. And Lenny's mom, Roxy Rocker, on the Jeffersons. His daddy was a writer and all that. And Lenny was in a crossover world. Lenny grew up with him and Slash. Slash the same way as Lenny. Hollywood brothers are a little bit different, especially when cats grew up in Cali. But Cali's a little bit different too. So I'm not making no excuses. They are a little bit different. And then when you put in the industry, they go by, they more, they're kind of sheltered. You know. But Lenny, I'll say this. I don't say this. He doesn't really do anything out of his way. He's accepted in the white world to an extent, but not out of his way more. They haven't really accepted him fully though. They know he's mediocre as a musician, but they didn't put him in the Hall of Fame. They used him in spots. That's what he need to be talking about for his big popularity on white rock radio. Wouldn't that give him some Hall of Fame merit? I don't think he's getting in. Too mediocre. So they pimped him in that regard. It's an interesting story though. So did he buck all the way? He just came out and spoke out, but he always was crossover though. Lenny was always crossover. He was a crossover brother. Well, what really threw me off with him is when he got that token Oscar when they had the special award show at the bus station in LA, and he broke down like he was a, 62-year-old sister. And he's like, oh, get all giddy about getting a token Oscar. Yeah, he keeps low budget for black folk in his work. He has a theme that he does. What I've said is this: I respect his hustle and to be successful. So I give him because it's tough. I applaud anybody's creativity with what they got to do. If they can make a name for themselves and make it work, more power to him. But I do think that he's step and fetch, and he's a one trick Johnny. I'm not gonna go into what Cat Williams said about him because again, everybody does acting. Acting is what? Acting. They all acting. But he does. He has a formula that works. He came up with the perfect open field that no one else was doing, and that was the black woman, the church woman with the fruit hat on her head. He spoke to a particular audience, and that's why he gets what he gets. Well, Stallone, two things. Stallone is still trying to prove that he's a tough guy, Stallone really ain't got it like that money wise. Not that kind of bag because he doesn't own the Rocky estate. So now he's kind of, and also that's all he know. He never was a good actor. I liked him as a kid as Rocky and all of them, the meathead roles, but that is what he is. I mean, I might watch one of his old movies, but they were what they were. Adrian, I'm gonna do this. I mean, what else he gonna do? So, you know, that was, cause sometimes that's all you got. And if they got an audience that wants to see you pull it off, more power to you. But he was never no deep thespian actor. What else could he do? And the thing is that because Michael B. Jordan is pushing that Creed franchise and got 3 out, probably gonna have about 60 of them joints out and keep doing that, it's moving him from that alone. So there's really not much else that Stallone can do. Stallone was no deep actor. He's a one-trick pony. So, but he's got a franchise to go back to. I'll say it looks more, you look at him and you think, oh God, he's doing this. Fred Williamson does his movies. You don't think of Fred Williamson being 80 because Fred Williamson still looks good and well preserved. And he didn't look all beat and haggard like Stallone does. But Fred Williamson also has some quality about him. I did too. My mother and I went to go see that movie. And I always use the joke about Clubber Lang. I'll use a Clubber Lang reference sometimes in some of my posts when I talk about how somebody got Clubber Langed. I'll use that. Like Dallas got Clubber Langed. The Packers Clubber Langed them. They hit, Jordan Love was hitting them shots down the field. They didn't see it coming. Knocked their butt out. Get Clubber Lang. So I do use the Clubber Lang reference. Yeah, Mr. T back then was big. And he was bouncing the bodyguard for a lot of folks. And he had a personality. That was a different day and time. Yes, Stallone couldn't do no wrong back then. Italian Stallion, But that's all he did. He was a one-note Johnny. They got Rocky going to the moon. So originally Sylvester Stallone was supposed to be in Beverly Hills Cop. If you didn't know, but and I don't want to see Eddie's Part 4 coming out next summer. I'm not expecting much with that. So but Stallone needs the money though. That's what's up. He needs the money. Because if he hits a big loot these days and gets the stream money, so it's about that bag. And like I said, back in the day, I liked him. Like I said, I used to watch all that. I followed his career back then, but that was a different day and time, But they'll put a budget. I mean, Harrison Ford's still doing Indiana Jones. Now, if you're going to be impressed by a white dude that's going to have that kind of ability to go old and still be action and believable, it's Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is kind of like the Roger Clemens of actors. And I got a lot of respect that he takes care of his body, his mind, and he still endures. He's not the best actor by no stretch, but he's good enough and he definitely holds his characters up. He's a unique type of action cat too, so you know. So yeah, Jackie Chan is still doing his thing. He's taking care of himself. Chuck Norris still does those dimensions thing. Yeah, I just used the Jordan Love reference. The club langed on him. Well, yeah, it takes time, and he'll get better from that game against Frisco. He got to stop that passing over the middle where he's running out and just trying to make something happen. Just kind of let what comes to you. You know, survey the field, take your time, throw the ball away if you ain't got nothing. Be smart. But I know why you were tough on him because you had Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, and you were spoiled by winning 12, 13 games. And the kid comes out and he looks like he's just stinking it up, and he's barely gonna win 9-10. But he's gonna get better. They just got to get a couple pieces. They definitely gave Frisco a battle. They gave him a battle. So he's gonna be a good one though. I mean, I think that division is gonna be tough next year. Yeah, Jackie takes care of himself, and Chuck Norris takes care of himself. I mean, that's what they do. So yeah, I saw a little bit of it last night. I got through doing this live chat. Um, Purdy is good. You know, I mean, he's poised. He because compared to what happened with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo, you know, but let's not get it twisted. He does have McCaffrey and Debo and a defense and a team that's just legit. So I like Josh Allen as an athlete, and I see why they get excited, but he's too erratic. If Josh Allen had the poise of Burrows, he would be scary. And poise means everything. Burrows is poised. I don't know if Josh Allen beats Burrows head to head. And a matter of fact, Josh doesn't really come up favorable against top tier quarterbacks. Yeah, he's got playoff wins, but it's almost like it's questionable. He done lost 3 different ways to Mahomes, and he looked his best the second time. Now, I'm not gonna go that far. Goff plays smart, precise, but I'm not. Allen's a better talent. But it would depend on what we're talking about. If you're talking about on talent, or you're talking about on, you know, because Jared Goff was a reason why he got traded to Detroit. Let's not get it twisted. That was a lopsided trade because Matthew Stafford could actually get that ball there and had more life. Jared Goff was seen as kind of robotic and would take a hit and would try to make things happen. And it wasn't that long ago that he was kind of just a tier better than Baker Mayfield. So let's not I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to say it like that. Let's not, depends on what your criteria is. If you're talking in terms of poise, accuracy, and doing things, okay, you might have some validity with that. If you're talking in terms of talent, Josh Allen eats him for breakfast twice on Tuesday all the way to Sunday. It ain't even close. So it all depends what your criteria is there. I can understand if you're giving Goff in terms of being more, you know. Oh yeah, Mahomes is a beast, yo. Mahomes is a beast. You're seeing something special. It's like Tiger Woods. It's like Tiger did it again. And you know, you can be Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Burrows, and Jalen Hurts. You can be those guys, and y'all going to be like Phil Nicholson. And Brady is his Jack Nichols. But he's tearing everybody's behind up that's in his peaking era. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. You don't even think about Deshaun Watson anymore. If Burrows doesn't come back healthy again with that offensive line, you might forget that he was actually a threat. Josh Allen is dangling by a thread. Lamar is the last hope. And we're talking about a very competitive era of quarterbacks. Let that sink in. And Aaron Rodgers, even though he's at the last of the pool date, he was one of the few guys to get a league MVP from him. So think about that. You're seeing a dominance. That's Jordan, but that's Tiger Woods too. That's Serena Williams too. That's Barry Bonds from a statistical perspective because he can beat you different ways. You know, if he knows how to run the ball and doesn't have to do behind the back and do the, and can beat you with those guys catch the ball. Oh, it's a wrap. You're not beating him. And he can win on the road. Hostile environments can come from behind on you. Game, set, match. That's why I got him in my top 3 greatest quarterbacks ever. And I had him as a top 10 3 years ago, top 5 the last 2.5. In time, but CJ's got to get a playmaker with Houston. You know, they got a couple things they got to work on. You know, but what Mahomes is doing, he has no peers. That's all I'm trying to get people to understand. And remember, Houston had a black talented quarterback in Deshaun Watson. Now you're up to C.J. Stroud. See how little time had changed in 5 years, and he had to beat Deshaun to get to a Super Bowl and come from behind. Remember, so they got another black quarterback in Houston. So the thing is that shows you how, but the greatness of Mahomes already. That's the greatness of Mahomes already. That they got a guy as a replacement. Meanwhile, that guy's elsewhere. But that's the thing. I think Stroud, yeah, of course, black quarterbacks matter because the NFL has been so racist a long time. But I think CJ against Jordan Love would be more intriguing in the future. Mahomes is like half of his career. Like, you're gonna talk about a guy that's 4 years from his decade. So I don't know if CJ will catch that in time. Mahomes has already got a legacy, which I don't see none of these guys matching like that. I mean, when you were 6 straight years in AC championship games, that's a legacy. No. Mm-mm. He'd have to have a quarterback that was down on his luck. I don't think he would deal with another ego-based quarterback. Now, I will say this. He would be good for the defense and probably for James Cook. But I don't think him and Josh would gel. Josh is too old now. He'd have had to have gone in his second, third year. When they lost to Jacksonville, maybe when they lost to Houston, I think it's too deep now. I don't think he could flip him. Because he had Russell all of his career, and Geno was a guy that was a third-tier underachiever. Josh Allen is a top-tier quarterback who needs a polished coach who knows how to do it. Yeah, but Geno, listen what you're saying. Geno ain't Josh Allen. And there's a big difference between a guy that's a top-tier guy and a guy that's a third-tier guy. That's the point I'm trying to think. Because tiers matter. You got to have ego to match ego. Let me give you a good example. Larry Brown got Allen Iverson to the finals. They got a finals MVP out of him, league MVP. He got Chauncey Billups. He got a finals MVP out of him. Now, Iverson was a better player. But see, it's different when you got to have the right type of ego of a coach to match the right ego of a player. And I don't see Carroll could do that there. Carroll might have a chance. Let me think. In Minnesota, probably, maybe with the Chargers, maybe. That's a question mark. But I think with Minnesota, he would thrive. I think he would do good with Justin Fields in Chicago. I think he would be good in certain places. I don't think he could be the answer for Josh Allen. They can let Von Miller walk. They're not going to get half the money for Von Miller because we didn't get him. We got him 3 or 4 years past the pull date. Like if you go grocery shopping and they say, well, you should eat this by Sunday, but you really should eat it by Friday, and you just got it about an hour ago. That's where Von Miller is. He ain't the same dude, and he can't disrupt. It's not the same. We got him about a couple years too late. Um, they just need, Oliver. They need playmakers. I know Milano was playing good, but they need playmakers. That's one of the biggest things that they're missing. They need another receiver to complement Stephon. If Diggs stays, they need to get playmakers. They don't have enough. Yeah, and the thing is he was great with the Rams, but you remember he had Aaron Donald. The Rams had enough balance, and he could come in behind that. There's no Aaron Donald on the Bills' defensive line. I like Ed Oliver, but let's not get it twisted. They don't have Bruce Smith out there. And Von Miller is not the dude. He was a beast in Denver, and he was great with the Rams. But they don't have that kind of defense. Yeah. Or D Hop from Tennessee, or Mike Evans from Tampa. They need a playmaker to complement that, because that's what Josh Allen needs, and you need the ego to match the ego. So that's what I'm saying with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think he does too, because he made a bad mistake, because he went there and then his boy got dealt to the Saints. They cut him, and then he ends up, and then of course he ain't got no business. He didn't really do nothing for New Orleans last year. They missed the 17 points a game after the Raiders. That thing didn't work out. And so Adams thought he was teaming up with his boy, and he saw how that turned out. And he's a frustrating quarterback too. Got benched by the Raiders, missed the car. So, and you saw what happened with old Carr. And the Raiders, Jimmy Garoppolo, and the Raiders just have not gotten it right at quarterback. Oh, T.O. Come on now. I mean, in all due respect, I don't know if you got to see prime T.O. The Frisco era, the Philly era, the one-legged in the Super Bowl where Teddy Bruschi was 2 weeks from having that stroke. That guy was a baller. Now, I know all his Kanye West antics were doing, he didn't do push-ups. He did, he did crunches in his driveway, But that T.O. Was a game changer. He was a game changer. Maybe you still be hating on him because he made that catch against Green Bay that knocked you out in 98. Steve Young threw that pass. So maybe I get that. Okay, I can understand. But no, Adams was not seeing no prime T.O. T.O.'s in my top 5 receivers ever. Probably in the 3 or 4 slot. I don't have Devontae Adams like that. Not for no career. I'll forgive you if you hate him for catching that ball against y'all. But now, that Frisco to Philly era T.O. that almost went to Baltimore and did the Ray Lewis dance, that T.O. got him beat today, tomorrow, through Sunday, and back to next Tuesday. And it's not close. And Devontae Adams is bad, but he's not on that guy's level. That T.O. was on another level. And he went to the Star in Dallas. That was a bad boy. He was that good. I like Adams, but I never, not like T.O. There's no receiver today that I would pick over prime T.O. or prime Randy Moss or Jerry Rice or Mike Irvin. I make a case that Mike Williams could get some love, but Curtis Martin. Ricky was a talented back, but we never got the full burst of him. Should have been like a baby version of Earl Campbell. Was bad. Curtis, my favorite Martian, was a beast though. He ran hard. He came up big. He was a tough back. Ricky actually got better in Miami. ran crazy in the snow. Kind of had the Herschel Walker syndrome. One of those guys that was a freak of a talent, but we never got it all. Somewhere between a Baby Earl Campbell and a Herschel Walker type, just didn't quite get it all out of him. I think he got bored with football and the politics and the whole thing with Dicker and all that mess. But Curtis Martin got it out of him. Curtis was bad. Curtis is one of my favorite backs ever. Ricky was good, but Ricky in college was more, he had some NFL moments. I'm not gonna play Ricky like he had a Reggie Bush running career in the NFL, but we didn't get the fullness of him. Rod Smith. Keyshawn to me was a second tier kind of receiver. Rod Smith came up big, and he was quick and agile, and he was the truth. Key just happened to be because he played in SC and he had the spotlight, and he had the book out, and he came up and his mouth was big, and they had a buzz for him. But I never looked at Keyshawn as a top tier receiver. I think Rod Smith got him beat. He's an okay commentator, but I liked him actually when he played. He did comments on the sideline. But him and Warren Sapp had me rolling because Sapp be snapping on him. But I never looked at Key as a top tier and flag receiver. Good and tough, but wasn't feeling him like that. Rod was tough. Rod came up big. Funny you mentioned Rod too, because thinking about him and McCaffrey in Elway. Rod could burst on you too. My top 5 safeties. Oh, God. You got me thinking, okay, let me go get my safeties. Who am I going to pick as my safeties? Ronnie Lott, Ed Reed. Let's see, I'm going to pick on. Kenny Houston. Could call him Brian Dawkins, and I would say Donnie Shell. Let me see. Ronnie Lott, Ed Reed, Troy, Donnie Shell, Charles Woodson, Rod Woodson, I would say, and I would definitely give Leroy Butler a nod. Kenny Easley's underrated. He's underrated. Honorable mention to Jack Tatum. Well, we don't talk about Jack, but that's another year, another time. I like Dante Whitner, but Ed Reed would definitely get the nod there. So those guys come to mind. Troy, Ed, and Kenny Houston. I mentioned Kenny Houston before. Linebackers. Well, I'm going to mention my cousin because it's Lawrence Taylor going to be there. So that comes first and foremost. Lawrence Taylor, of course, that's because of my kinfolk, number one. Ray Lewis, Jack Lambert, Dick Buckus. And who else would I pick in that category? Let's see. Junior Seau was bad. Derek Brooks, Derek Thomas was bad. Jack Hand was bad. Ted Hendrick was undersized. Excuse me. Um, James Harrison, Cornelius Bennett from back in the day with the Bills, Andre Tippett, who I was talking about. Andre Tippett doesn't get his due. Wilbur Marshall, and we talk about Von Miller. But Lawrence is gonna come up with me. Lawrence Dick Buck is off the top of my mind. And Ray Lewis. Okay. Favorite Bills players, past and present? OJ's always gonna be number one. He's the greatest Buffalo Bill ever. And then I would say Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith, Steve Tasker. Josh is eventually going to get that nod. Even though he was with Green Bay, James Lawson will get that. Yeah, but Mose won't be one of my. He won't. I liked him, but we didn't quite get the fulfillment of him. Doug Flutie would be one of my favorites. I like Don Beebe. I like Cornelius Bennett, the Biscuit. I liked Reggie McKenzie. He would have. Joe Cribbs, Jerry Butler, Brian Moorman. Yeah, I mentioned that. Milano comes up. Yeah, I mentioned Task already. Milano come up. Trying to think, because I'm thinking on the defense, and it's coming to me. It's definitely gonna come to me. There were so many cats that I liked on the defense of the Bills in the '90s that it's crazy. I'd give a nod to. I guess I throw Joe Ferguson in there. I didn't like Cole Beasley. I thought he was a third down specialist. If I was going to pick a third down specialist for Buffalo Bills history, it'd be Ronnie Harmon. Beasley was all right, but Ronnie Harmon back in the day was one of my favorites. That's who I would say. Tasker. Let's see. Yeah, we got Percy late. Percy was late. But there's somebody I'm trying to think of, and I'm not thinking of them right now. Let me see. Let me see. I mean, he was okay. He was good. We didn't really quite get him. Um, we didn't quite get him the way we supposed to have got him. He kind of fit, uh, but it didn't quite gel the way it's supposed to. That's the problem. Marshawn didn't really fit with what we were doing. I liked him, but it didn't quite fit though. That's the only downside with him. You know, yeah, it was racial how they ran him out of town. No Hanston. You know, I had him on the tip of my tongue. Couldn't think at the time. Daryl Talley. So I had to mention Talley. That's who I like Talley a lot. Yeah, Marshawn. It was racial, and it is real there. But he didn't really fit that out. We didn't have the right quarterback. Didn't have the right chemistry. Um, he went to Seattle and he made himself a household name. You know, so we didn't. Again, when we went through all our Flutie versus Rob Johnson, that's what messed up the team for a while. He was. I'm not even gonna argue with you on that one. Even though Buffalo is Chocolate City in certain sectors, depending on what part of Buffalo you in. If you're off of Jefferson Avenue, if you in the black side of town, Ralph Wilson, and my father told me this story back in the day. He told OJ, he said, don't get caught on the black side of town. So they had sectors and towns that they kept you at. So I remember, and I don't really talk about it because I like to act like he has changed a bit, but I remember he wasn't the first Bills to get caught with that, and he ain't the first quarterback, because that's what got one of them other guys got caught with it. You know, I remember. But racist tweets don't work against you unless you suck. If you suck, then they miraculously have a way of coming up against you. But I remember. Oh, I know he is, because that whole thing in Mississippi with the water speaks to itself. And he always was poor white trash. So. But, that's how the NFL runs anyway. Yeah, Marshawn talked about how the cops used to chase him behind. Yeah, he was a tough quarterback, but I definitely got the same vibe of him like I did Roger Clemens. But good old white boys. He was tough, and he definitely made himself into a very good quarterback, being a gunslinger. Because I remember when he was with Atlanta, and he took over from Don the Magic Mikowski from the Green Bay. I don't know if you remember that quarterback, Don the Magic Man, and Farr took over in '92. I remember. Because Don the Magic had he was kind of like on the Kirk Cousins tip. See, when I see cats back then in my memory, the thing about Brady is it do, but then it don't. It's like it's there, but it ain't. I know with the mega hat, but then I know, and it doesn't mean anything that his niece is black. And then he acts like he's down. And then it's kind of hard with him because you really can't. I got a buddy of mine who was out in Cali, and he kind of alludes to things with Brady, but he never really went all the way through with it. But he gave him his love as a quarterback. But I wouldn't be caught off guard either. You know. You know. But he's one of those guys, he's kind of a chameleon with it though. You can't really get the fullness. It's there, but yet you can't say definitively. So, but I know exactly what you mean. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the GOAT quarterback and one of the greatest players ever, etc. I loved him as a player, and I was a Michigan fan, so you know. But you know, I don't put nothing past most. Mm. So, so I don't know. Um, I always felt that way about Terry Bradshaw too. Yeah, he looked like he'd do some stuff. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Harbaugh, uh, the whole recruiting thing, the you know, he can coach though, but he's got some stuff with him though. He got some stuff with him. Nothing would surprise me. Yeah, nothing would. Most of them do stuff that you can't imagine they do. It's just that they play a certain facade, you know. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, but because of the fact that he's the last great coach y'all had and won something, people gonna look the other way. Yeah, I don't know about the last. I don't know what's going on. And he sucked in the NFL, but because he's, again, he bought him a lifetime pass. So as long as he don't be too drunk and don't make himself come off like the drunk uncle at the party and don't grab the wrong thing, they let him get away. Because Quiet has just kept it bringing back as coach. That's why he's got that Fox job now. You know, and there's probably some alum and recruits. That's how he gets down. You know, that wasn't no accident in Jacksonville, but just saying. Mm-hmm. People don't get it, don't understand that when I talk about sports plantations, like I do the music industry and the film plantations, it's sports plantations too. They pass the booty, booty looty, checks for cheeks for checks. Yeah, Nick got smooth though. Nick kind of looks like him and DeSantis could be like cousins. They look like family. Got the same part in the middle on that. You know, both benefit off of black players and mm-hmm. But college football is a big old plantation, so it shouldn't shock you or surprise you. Mm-mm. That's what Colin Kaepernick was talking about when when they say they have the drafts of the all that. Of course they do. That's how they get the tidbits. Cheeks for checks. Like I tell you all the time, it ain't no different. All them industries is like that. Shit. The secrets that they take to their grave or they take home, yeah, they know. And you gotta remember, they get in the sidelines or they get in the locker room, they see these cats without their jock straps on there and they're watching them. What you think? They privy to seeing skin and flesh. What you think? There's nothing but a slave like an auction. They see them in the most rawest form. Yes, she was. You can't help it when you're out there in LA. You got cocaine, movie stars, music artists, lifestyle, playboy. That's par for the course. So that's what's up. You know, you get into it. It's a boys' club, so she had to play the game. That's what's up. Just like Ford starter in Detroit. I mean, Joe and Rosen and with the Rams. They know what's up. No one ever calls Jenny Buss out for messing with Phil Jackson. Employee, employer, owner to the boss. Hmm. Yeah, well, D'Lo don't want to leave LA, but the problem is he doesn't have a choice, and he's always gonna be a snitch. That whole thing with Swaggy P and him, they brought him back as chump change because he's a chump change guard. When I say a chump change guard, I'm talking about a guy that you can flip and turn over because there is no long, just like Schroeder. There's a certain type of guards. Those guys are not going to be for long. Yeah, they're trying to get Murray from Atlanta. That's the one they want. No one wants D'Lo. He don't play no defense and he's half-hearted. Yeah, yeah. Rodman and Field. Rodman hustled a lot of folks. He got over with Mark Cuban too in Dallas. I don't know anything about it, but he stayed with. Now guys do it all the time. These owners bring in players and coaches and they keep them up there. You know, so she didn't mess with him. No, he did get hit on, but he didn't really. He didn't bite. She probably had a better chance when he got older though than he does when he was younger. When he was younger and impressionable, he had a couple of chicks on standby back in the day. I know him and Brandy just didn't quite go all the way. He had a couple others for Vanessa. Yeah, I remember that. But that's only because Kobe got that public embarrassment when he had to put that $4 million house on her finger. That's why. Because Kobe kind of had like open situation. He was getting ready to break up with her too. Because she thought she had gotten fat after the babies were born. He almost broke up with her in 2010. They both broke up a couple of times. Kobe was out there hitting them. She was for the streets. Very racist. Because he was Pookie. They knew who he was, but even though he was fluent and he could do all that, they weren't impressed. They saw a ninja. They didn't want Pookie to come home. And Kobe's parents didn't care for her either, so it worked both ways, except they the ones who paid the price in the big picture. Only Shaq mentioned them at the funeral service. So, yep, that's how they think of you. So, I wouldn't go that far with it though, because I think it would take a certain type of brother. I think she would like brothers. I don't know if she would have done it though. Of course they did. Kobe was a cash cow for a lot of folks. But I can't hold anything against Vanessa because she was there for the whole duration. She took him back because, like I said, they almost parted. I remember 2010, I was watching Entertainment Tonight. It was something came on, and he wanted he wanted a house like the Neverland Ranch. Something he wanted, but they almost split up. They almost split twice. Almost behind 03, and then what happened 2010. But they worked it out. Plus, I think it was cheaper to keep her too. Let's not kid ourselves. So they always take your money. Call you every name in the book, though. But well, because she had dirty draws, that's what messed her up. She had his butt on a hook, line, and sink. If it wasn't for them dirty draws, that's what messed him up. That's the only thing that saved his behind. Oh, I read the Green Report, the whole nine, and he was hook, line, and sinker because that prosecutor was definitely trying to get something out. And that's why he hired that female attorney back in Colorado. She doesn't say anything because it's an NDA. It's but it was known. And he told her to get out the room after he was finished. So it was a mess. Well, Big Ben never really had a case because they didn't come after him like the NFL, even though they know he frat boy Ben was cold busted. But it was different with Kobe. You know, Big Ben never had Goodell and none of them come after him. So he comes off all righteous and stuff. So yeah, the Lakers chartered his plane ride. Well, no, because sometimes you don't want to bring up certain things for certain purpose. Now, I'm not saying that he wasn't guilty. It's just that there's certain things you don't want to be expounded on in public because it's only going to be a settlement anyway, because that's what they do right now. Everybody's getting settled out of court because it's easier to settle than to go to court, because if you go to court and you don't win, you don't get compensated in some cases. So it's better. Everyone's going to court now. That's what happened with Puffy. It's easier to prove in money than it is to prove in court. And that might necessarily be right for you, but you'll settle that before you go. Every time a settlement doesn't necessarily mean you're guilty. It's just that you don't want to bring up certain things that can be held against you that you have to explain, because details and so on and so forth. But Big Ben was a perv, but he didn't really get charged. The difference is that he did do stuff that would have been chargeable, but it wasn't like Kobe's chargeable. They call him Rapey Burger. Kobe definitely had a serious situation, but Kobe ended up paying because he really didn't go to court either. Think about it. He won't, because he's got enough protection by the wigs to let him walk. They're not gonna come after Tyler. Tyler's done everything they wanted. He's also got some brother in him, but he's a light-skinned, trisexual, pansexual cat, and they done everything. Woody's got deep pockets. They're not coming after Woody. They're not coming after Woody. They're not. They're not. And I don't mind you naming names, but these cats ain't gonna get brought up no time soon. They got a pass. They signed the oath. But yeah, Kobe didn't. They settled. He went, but they still settled because It was enough to. It was enough to get in him. It was serious enough, but it was paid off. But I don't really go into it for a simple fact is that because of how she ended up, that she was a 304 that she was for them streets. That's what saved Kobe. That's what saved him. But it was a pretty serious case. Most times when people have those kind of situations, they are advised to settle because unless of course you can get it airtight and stuff don't come out where it doesn't indict you and implement you. You want to settle that. You really don't want to run the risk because it can air you out bad that you could win, but it could still be airing you out bad. So it's a touchy situation. And I'm not arguing against the last mentions you mentioned, but those are going to be, you know, I know where you're coming from if we're going to go back in time, but they're not coming after Steven Tyler. They're not going to come after Woody Allen. They're not going to come after Rob Lowe. They're not coming after Charlie Sheen. So that's all. They don't operate the Me Too cancel culture the same. It's a lot of it is complexion. And I know someone will say, well, they got Harvey Weinstein for R. Kelly. I said, they got a lot more Harvey guys that make them look like choir boys. And even R. Kelly's situation's got some, even though he's got his tags, things against him, his ain't even close to being the worst with some of these others. But I said before and I'll say it again, he also was talking about their money. And that's why they dug up everything they dug on him. They been know what was up. They come after you when your money get funny. They still gonna make money off of you. They don't cancel you. They just lock you from what you do. That's all. There's no such thing as cancel culture or mute. They're still making money hand over fist. They just ain't gonna give you your money. And they'll find a way to romanticize it and justify what they do. But they pick who they want. Jerry Lee Lewis is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. R. Kelly is not. Something wrong with that because R. Kelly had a bigger career than Jerry Lee Lewis, who was a cultural musical bandit. Had some talent, but his whole thing was off of black music. Rode off of it. Had some talent, but you can't sit there and say that he had the catalog seeing R. Kelly's and the impact. But they ain't say nothing about Jerry Lee Lewis. So, just different standards for different folks. Appreciate Wilbur Jericho and thank you, T. And everybody else that came through today. I had a few folks come through some great questions. Um, everything was cool. I'll be on for a few more minutes. I'm gonna call it a day. I gotta start doing some cooking and stuff. Definitely enjoyed it. If there's any more before I go, it was definitely live today. A lot going on. A lot of going back in time. It's always amazing how we can tap on different subjects and pieces, and it's always cool. Favorite rock bands? Okay, I'll do that. Favorite rock bands. I am going to say off the top of my head, well, Steely Dan would be considered rock. They would be by some. They would be. Van Halen, the David Lee Roth era, Aerosmith, the Jimi Hendrix Express. I would say Led Zeppelin. I would say I used to like Guns N' Roses. Thin Lizzy. Soundgarden. Like Soundgarden a lot. Living Color. There you go. Like Journey a lot too. Neil Schoen's one of my favorite guitar players, and we know in Stephen Perry, the real Journey. There's a lot of them. I mean, we talked about TJ Hummel being one. Actually, I'm going to disappoint people because I'm not going to say what people want me to say. I'm going to say Cat Williams. I have a problem with the cat that comes out and blasts black comedians and doesn't talk about white counterparts. and tries, and this is what to me it is. I think he is a buck dancer. I don't trust the agenda there. It's the obvious people where we can talk about Terry Crews, the obvious, folk, Kevin Hart, shuffling. But Cat Williams' thing, yeah, because think about it. Netflix and all that. And Chappelle brought up a good point. All these cats is in the same boat. No one is above the other. I mean, even though they're in different food chains. But why they got him talking about all the black comedians without an agenda being raised? Why? He has, the only thing he talks about Gary Owens being the one token white dude, and he mentions, but he never. It's always about these people. To me, when you're bucking, you're trying to look good for the massa. Now, how is he not looking any more than Malika Andrews? Shannon Sharp, yeah, the whole LeBron thing and stuff. He does have his knowledge about what he do, but he does go overboard with the LeBron thing, you know. But this whole thing to push this is like watching TV wrestling. It's not really authentic because you're just going after these guys. Morgan Freeman, yeah, when he said about Black History Month. The Rock is crossover. He's actually spoken up about his dad, but you can kind of nudge him there. I'd say Van Diesel more, and I'd say Dwayne Johnson, because he is what he is. He's always been a crossover cat. Now, if you want to use his imagery that crossed him over against him, that's cool. Q juggling about Biden and Trump looks suspect. But he's playing corporate life. It's a very strong wire to dangle. I'd say Charles Barkley. I'd say Shaquille O'Neal. All that hating on Kyrie Irving, they was bucking for Ernie Johnson when Kyrie didn't even really go in about talking about Jews like that. Wasn't offensive. He didn't say anything offensive. So I had a problem with that. And I do love Shaq as a player, but I don't like what he done sold himself out to. And Charles Barkley too. And Gayle King. I can go on, Oprah Winfrey, all that. They all been bucking. So, I think Lil Wayne too. Mr. I don't really know about black consciousness, certain things he said. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of them. A lot of them, you know. Obviously with Stephen A. Smith and, there's a lot of them. So, but yeah, Cat comes up because, again, look at the subject matter. A lot of people don't talk about it. But when you're talking about, you're specifically going after a segment of black comedian, you're going at certain folks, you got to have the platform and the money to get that pushed on. So why are you pushing that one? Because they're allowing you to. And I know before someone says, well, white comedians steal too. Carlos Messina going after a fellow Mexican one ain't the same as Cat Williams going after Steve Harvey, who's multiple prime time, Cedric the Entertainer, multiple prime time. That's marketing. That's what it's up. Or going after Tyler Perry. Regardless of what you think about the dress or the imagery, that's done on purpose. That's calculated moves. That's bucking to me because you're saying it from economical, even though you're making economical. So, look at how they got you saying things. Paul Mooney was across the lines talking about it, black and white. You see. But if you're going to air out stuff, you need to air it out where it really, like Orlando Brown did. So, but anyway. I'm gonna get ready to roll, and I'm gonna do this again tomorrow when I get back if I got time tomorrow. It's great rapping, chopping up with you cats. Appreciate you both. We had some great discussions. It's been live. Appreciate you. Um, Stay safe, stay careful, stay warm. More importantly, stay sane with all the stuff that's going on out here. And I will be back tomorrow. Probably try it not about as long, but I'll do it though. This has been on the real. All right. Stay up. Peace. Appreciate y'all always. Thank you for the support.